All right. Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. And today we're speaking about one of my favorite topics of all time, how to work with certain spirit guides, how to work with multiple guides at once. Okay. So, really key here, guys. And I think that this is going to be very helpful to us in order for us to actually understand what happens when two guides start clashing, right? Or two energies aren't working together really well. Like, what really happens? So, what really goes on in a case like this, right? So, the first thing is I want to give you guys the real mechanics of this stuff. Okay. So let me share the whiteboard. Okay. All right. All right. So let's get started. So if you've ever felt guided, but you're unsure, like who's helping me, it's because you were probably taught a very kindergarten model of spirit. You want an upgrade, but there is not a single node. Okay. The first thing you want to understand is you are a constellation. Okay. And of course, you have what you call the axis, which creates your nexus. Another way of saying this is your spirit theme gives rise to your spirit team. Okay. The nexus, by the way, is a pinnacle, or almost you could think of it as all of my guides in one conglomerate, one frequency, one node, right? So that's the way to first of all simplify everything, right? The oversoul is the long game, right? Very high altitude intelligence. Okay. Think of it like it's a pattern seer, right? Long game, destiny arc. Okay. And the undersoul is like survival energy. You could think of it as that. Um, yeah, instinct, trauma memory, survival energy, right? Libido, fear, hunger, these types of things, right? And so once you understand that this is the way to go about it, like this is the most optimal way for me to thrive, right? So let's say that you have your little character here. Actually, let me just open up an image that would be easier for you guys to understand. Okay. So essentially, right here, we're going to be speaking a little bit about the chakra system. However, if you're not used to this kind of wisdom, or this is like you're just coming across this stuff for the first time, do watch some of our previous videos. We do have a lot of great content in terms of spirituality. So if uh, if anything resonates, you can definitely let me know. Um, And maybe we'll have Ryan G, I'm not too sure, on this to just help out. Let me just actually send him a link. All right. All right. Well, I should warn him that we're live. Okay. So essentially, we have our seven chakra system. Now, we also have a specific system which you can check on our Instagram, Primal Sutra, and check out the pinned posts, and you'll see the oversoul undersoul map much more clearly. Okay, so above oversoul, high altitude intelligence. Undersoul is more so your instinct. At least most people are possessed by the undersoul, and then they call it intuition or something, right? Um, Whereas others, they float in the oversoul and then they think it's spirituality, but they're being very useless here on Earth, right? They're trying to escape or something, right? They're get me out of this prison planet, man. Yeah, okay, buddy, right? Like this is a mastery, right? So a mastery means you have to create a bridge between them. This is why the heart chakra is so powerful, or the solar plexus, right? Or the higher heart, because it's right in our center. So if we need to feel centered, you have to first rely on your center. Now, spirit guides are not external angels. They're not floating outside of you like different mascots, right? Some anchor in your chakras, some run through your nervous system, some operate as fields around you. But if you think of them as plugins, right, for your operating system, because different beings uh, step forward for different functions. Okay. So one stabilizes the heart, one sharpens your perception, third eye, one guards the parameter, right? One dissolves emotional residue, one injects play, risk, and joy, right? Um, if you feel mixed signals, right, because you don't know who's talking, you got to understand the chemistry between two beings, okay? So sometimes you'll have two different beings, right? Let's say being number one is right here. All right. Welcome, Ranji. Being number one is right here. And being number two is right here.
Yo.
Yo, yo. So sometimes these two beings will react. Okay. So that means they're gonna, it's like mixing chemicals together, right? You have like a chemical reaction. Like, let's say this one is a warrior and this one is a healer.
What's the theme of this life?
We're speaking about multiple spirit guides, brother, and
Ah, oh, okay, okay,
basically
okay, okay, okay.
like how they interact with each other and stuff like that. So just giving people like a roadmap to follow.
Right.
And so yeah, let's just say these are two different guides, right? Um, this warrior healer creates an inner tension,
Mm.
and let's say joy and trauma create emotional static. So they will show up as symptoms: anxiety, mood swings, confusion. But if you introduce a bridge, which we've thought of this technology for
Mhm.
a while, um, let's say the shaman, right, could be the link between both of these a certain way, because there is the shamanic warrior. Um, and I'm using archetypes here, but you can definitely use different path workings. So, for instance, if you are in the Indian or Hindu path working, then you know that Ganesha is the root chakra. However, what if you come from an African American tradition and then you have the Yoruba back home in Africa, like your roots goes back to a Yoruba tradition? How do you translate that root chakra energy through your own lineage and your Yoruba lens? You will find out through your ancestral kind of energy, right? Your root energy of where you're coming from. So yeah, the answers are all there. And how do you personally emerge beings, Ryan G, or how have you done it in the past? Interesting for the audience to know.
Um, let's see, which one is a fun one to talk about? The first one that would come up with the easiest ones for me to combine or to bridge would be those within the same pantheon.
Yeah,
That's easy. Those within the same style, like if they're both warriors.
Yeah.
The tricky part becomes when they have opposing teams or opposing
Oh,
frequencies. That's hard. That's kind of where, in order to have water and oil mix, you need an egg. That's how you get
right.
mayonnaise.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's how I would do it. Now, if you want to know where, how would you say this, misalignments lie,
Mm.
in my opinion, you can already feel it in your body.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like the biggest challenges for me would be Montu and then Sty because they're
Uh,
very stubborn in their ways. Is that correct,
yeah.
Sumit?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. So it's
Very.
almost like a metaphysical movie, right? Like, because you're like hiring these cast
Yeah.
uh to like almost run your spiritual life. So you're like the director and you have like a strategist, a lover, a child, a witness, whatever archetype, and they all give you, if you give them a proper scene. And we used to do this visualization a while back where we imagined all of our top seven spiritual guides all playing in a playground together like kids. So like imagine Odin is a small child, or Ma Lakshmi is a small child. Like, and understanding that like really brings it back to our own inner child, and then it starts like almost looping and working on a cool way, right? So you don't always know who's in your inner cast, but they'll improvise your life for you. And most people don't like the script they get. That's the thing.
Well, if they don't like the script they get, it's merely their shadows.
Mm,
That's my opinion.
yeah,
And at some point, you can always choose to either graduate the spirit guide or choose something else, something within a similar frequency. I will say learning to play with these deities is as important as working with them.
yeah,
That has delivered us a great deal of spiritual ROI,
yeah.
especially looking at the defensive arts that we practice. Like
Mm,
it's all automated. I
yeah,
don't have to think about stuff. We just have that protection on different levels. And
right.
this is why this method works. So when does it not work? When you're dealing with a more specific, nuanced situation. For
Yeah.
example, one of the moments where I realized, okay, I have some work to do was during one of my grappling matches,
Mm,
and afterwards finding out there was a misalignment between the three lower chakra beings,
yeah.
and that
Mm,
caused the more creative energies to clash more with my will.
yeah.
My will just wanted to win, the other ones just wanted to be creative. It's not necessarily the same.
Yeah, it's like, and then that's where you kind of get mixed messages because like one voice says rest and the other one's like, no, grind on. And you don't really know. You feel like this internal pull. And that's, I think, what's happening is, and explained it here, Angie, about the oversoul and undersoul, right? So the oversoul is like a destiny arc, like the long-term vision. And then
Mm,
the undersoul is like your trauma or your instinct,
right,
survival energy through these guides, of course, they're all metaphors. So uh, it's basically oversoul signals hitting undersoul trauma. So like one
right.
current is trying to evolve you, and the other one's trying to keep you safe. Uh, but both have a job, and if you don't regulate your field, it becomes like a weird screaming match between different guys from different pantheon. It gets very complicated like that. So that's what we've
Yeah.
discovered. Yeah. So yeah,
Is there any
guides don't compete,
interesting,
identities compete. basically.
Right, because you're more attached to the identity than the deity. The deity is again merely an aspect of self.
Right.
And
Exactly.
what you define as self in the then and there moment tends to give you more or less access to a certain deity. Let's say you're more in your head, then of course you're going to be more connected to the upper chakras. But if
Okay.
you're running, sprinting, maybe even, running away from something, um, you're more in your lower, I think. And if you're lost in fantasy, obviously you're busy with your third eye.
Yeah.
So again, it's all about the nuance now. What gets your
Mm.
attention, gets your energy.
Yeah. And oftentimes, what I like to do is kind of like the Napoleon Hill idea of like a council meeting. So
Yeah,
basically I'll speak as the director. Like, let's say, Hermes, state your concern in one sentence. Hermes says something, right? Then I will be like, okay, Janus, state your instruction in one sentence, right?
right.
So I'll use these different guides as like one sentence, and then what you're doing is giving each archetype its scene so it stops hijacking the whole movie. And then it's basically them learning to coordinate with each other.
All right.
And you can always do this in your own kind of empty space in your mind. Little visualizations like this, where you find a way to understand their differences, but then also understand where they merge. And
Well, both are
yeah, so I
important.
said the axis creates your nexus and the theme creates your team. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah, because the theme is the scope. And
yeah,
if it sticks within that scope, it's easier to work with these beings. And this includes, human beings as well.
yeah,
If you stay within the scope of the project, everything should be fine. If you go
yeah.
out of it, things become expensive.
Right. So you got to almost declare a chain of command, and then these guys start to listen because if they're split inside, you are somehow split inside. It's like, what's the
Hmm.
part of me that's still terrified of spirit guides? Like, and
Let's
maybe
let's
I'm
make
like
it
sabotaging
interesting.
it. You know?
Let's make it
Yeah.
interesting. Let's make it spicy. Regarding what you just said, where would you say I'm still hesitating working deeper with these guides?
Hmm. I think living in the junctions, which what I mean by that is like being present with your own inner body, because I do notice that you have a lot of interoception, meaning like your body has a lot of signals. Like you get your ear ringing or like your thumb or finger ringing or painting. So a lot of these are like just signs that your guides want you to say something or they want to chime in, but they're using a physical symptom to try to
Right.
get to you. So I think that's where your power is right now, as well as hmm, maybe the golden shadow generator energy, which is this is very golden shadow. Just called you here randomly, this live. But yeah, maybe that, and as well as the heart, which is your like 108 channels converge at the heart. So that means like a blocked heart means the whole system starves. So you're
Well,
really working on the
yes.
heart because you've done the heaps of shadow work. And
Yep.
once you have this, it's like, you're it's basically you're not forcing love, you're softening the heart while exhaling longer than you inhale, and then it stabilizes everything else, right? And then you get coherence points in a certain way.
Hmm.
um but yeah, sometimes I think that a lot of your guides are very strategic in their nature. So a lot of the times when they face like ascended masters or other beings, they don't know how to interpret them as data. It's like uninterpretable. And then that's where you start to panic and the paranoia kicks in. So
Fair.
it's like catching that and then like learning to flip it, or like learning to, I guess, neutralize some of these currents that aren't like your current baseline, So yeah, that those are like the challenges I would say. And seven chakras, of course, is like the dashboard, right? There's like 107 as the engine or whatever. It's 114 chakra system. We use, of course, 12 above, uh, uh, seven above. No, do we do seven above, seven below?
Yeah, so seven on the body, seven above, seven below.
Yeah, so we work with that model more so because it just simplifies everything. And
It's a way. It's just one route to Rome. That's all it is. And it
right.
happens to work well for us.
Yeah, and also palm chakras, right? Like you can rub your hands together, and if you do feel a charge, you know that your palm chakras are strong. Otherwise, you're like, I don't know, overstimulated or dissociated so much that you can't even feel the heat in your own hands. So, or the buzzing or tingling, right? So sometimes chakras get so close that we start feeling numb in that area. But a lot of times I've noticed grounding through the feet is a really good move on the soil or on stone. This feeds dozens of micro chakras instantly. I've noticed. That's why we, value grounding so powerfully. Um,
What is the importance of a micro chakra then?
mm, so it's just a little, um, streams between the chakras, you could say, and then we also have the front and back chakras, as you know, in the qigong system, as we
Right.
discovered. So yeah, the macro chakras are like the kind of they're like they're the tiny energy points that are like spread throughout the body, right? Like hands, feet, joints, organs, skin, stuff like this. So they kind of fine tune the emotion. You think
Mm.
about micro chakras, and so think of these are like the big hubs of energy, and then there's little mini nadis and meridians running through the body that are like the micro ones that yeah, regulate moment to moment balance more so than a long term effect, right? So the micro ones are like, okay, it's good to adjust in this one moment, right? If I make a sudden attunement of a micro chakra in one moment, it will help me in the next moment. But if I'm thinking of micro chakras in the long term, it's going to fuck me up because it's not, it's
Right.
macro. So yeah, that's just some guidance for the audience. Let me just go check YouTube. Hey there, guys. Oh, we have Mathis. Hey there, Ellie. Samba's here,
Yo.
champed out, over soul all day. Okay, awesome, guys. If you guys have any questions, by the way, let us know and we can continue. So, yeah, think of your emotions and elements as like also cheat codes. So, like earth,
Mm.
water, fire, air, ether, right? So, which element are you deficient in today? And then, just strengthen that element.
Yeah. Take
Um,
your spiritual vitamin, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And
Mm.
other things that I would definitely say is like your higher self isn't someone else, it's you. So that means that your higher self is your soul, which is you. And the game isn't contacting an external being, it's letting more of the soul's attributes through. So you're acting on your passion and then you're becoming a better receiver. So guides won't give you like long TED Talks unless you like channel them or something like this. They will guide you. People expect like a phone call type of conversation, but
I
most
mean, it would be
guidance is
nice.
condensed. It would be nice, yeah, maybe in the future, huh? The technology is
The,
getting
the
there.
the
So,
closest I ever came to that without channeling was during a shroom trip, I
oh, remember
believe.
also like that app you used randomly, and then
Oh,
you
right.
and then it
I
was
have
like one of
mixed
the guides'
feelings.
names. Yeah, it's weird.
I have
It's weird, man.
so many mixed feelings about it. So basically, it's kind of an app that you can use to catch frequencies that humans can't hear, and that's how
Yeah.
you can, um, listen into what ghosts are trying to tell you. And I remember doing this in Phoenix,
Ghost
and
entities,
the
yeah.
conversation went nowhere.
Mm. because they're usually giving you one word, right? So it's like, how do you even interpret this data like that? Like, they're like walk or something, and you're like, huh? Like, okay, I guess I'll walk, but I don't know.
Well,
I need something else to go off of, right? This is why muscle testing, pendulums, all this stuff is good for checking. But
right,
if you require a long convo to trust it, you'll miss 90% of the guidance. So really look for the symbols,
right, because
synchronicities.
that's missing the point as well. It was never about having a long conversation.
Oh
It's
yeah.
about getting those snippets of gold
Mm.
or those breadcrumbs that
It's
you need to
gold.
get to the bread, you know?
Mm.
That's all you
Right.
need. That's all you need. So again, why would you want to work with guides, spirit guides, and whatnot? It's good to have spiritual backing, be it in human
Yeah.
form or in spiritual being form. And
Yeah, and everyone has their own personal language too. Like Ryan gets a lot of his stuff from manga and like random uh like images on Instagram memes as well, right, Ryan G?
yeah,
Yeah, you get a lot of
license
custom coded to
plates,
your symbol dictionary.
birds, random visions.
So guides use whatever is in front of your face. So some of them will use numbers, others animals, others random
Yeah.
phrases. And it's personal language. So it's very
Huh.
unique to each individual. Like for
Let's
me, I
make
get it mainly through like different shows I watch or like sometimes even songs I'll
yeah,
notice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's make it interesting. Which of my chakras do I need to work the most this week?
Mm,
And
higher
so it's
heart.
immediate. Higher heart. Ah, I was busy with it anyway. Okay.
Yeah,
So for
yeah.
me,
I think you have
um,
to finish some kind of a cycle that you've started already. So that's the energy I'm picking
that's
up.
a breath work routine. That's just hell.
Oh, okay.
It's that combination between Wim Hof and like three others just knocks me out
Yeah,
afterwards.
but so what one of your guides is saying is like breath work is basically very useful in transmuting different emotions. So the next time you go into it, just try and use the breath as a like a recycler to try to deal with those emotions and like dissolve them or like, make them tinier, stuff like this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. So what happened just now was because Sumit and I have an energetic connection, a very strong one, and he's clear cognizant, no, clear audience,
Mm.
audio, whatever it's called. He can actually hear what my guys are trying to gesture to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you will often get symbolic guidance. Like let's say you're about to give a speech and they show you like some disco ball in your mind's eye. And you're like, okay, that's maybe a green light from one of my guides to like shine or whatever. Right. But in that moment, it might be
Yeah.
distracting. But later on, you will start to put the pieces together because your human mind catches up to the stuff quite later, I've noticed, at least for me.
Yeah.
Like it's not always like you're going to catch it in that moment, but it's like a week has passed and you go, fuck, that makes sense now, you know? So, and also remember that rituals are permission slips, right? They're not requirements in this path, but they will help if you notice that you schedule appointments with your guides. Hey, you can do that, but if you start to cage them or if they start to cage you, you drop them because um yeah, you
Interesting.
shouldn't feel confined by them. You know what I mean? Like
Interesting.
keep it flexible and malleable. That's my way of going about it.
Hey, oh, we have an interesting example of this. When I used to work with an aspect of Lord Osiris, um, his energy was bringing me way too much in the underworld, let's say, which then
Yeah.
caused like certain parts of my body to be energetically necrotic.
Yeah.
I was becoming a living corpse.
Mhm. Yeah.
But if my team is vision of abundance, then being a corpse just didn't make sense for us anymore, especially after, me doing all this extreme heavy lifting regarding shadow work. And that
Yeah.
was like a perfect moment. Instead of cutting this being off, allowing myself to graduate on the tutelage of this being, passing certain tests, and moving
Mm,
on to something that fits me better without
yeah.
necessarily disrespecting or offending such a being.
Yeah, and also like, once I've realized like let's say I'm doing research on some historical figure or something. Like suddenly I'll find like fuck, I've created like an energy connection with them. Because if everyone exists simultaneously, then that means you can deeply tune into someone, match their frequency,
Yep,
and like tune into their field in a sense. So just be a little bit mindful and use discernment when you're researching on some being or something like that, because you can oftentimes pull in those energies unconsciously. Uh,
true,
so yeah,
true.
just a fair warning. And
An example
phobias,
of
I think, are
this,
very symbolic challenges as well.
fair. Can I give an
Like
example of the previous one, Sumit?
the historical figures,
No, no, no. The
phobia,
no, just before that, you said something on
tuning
using
into their field.
tuning into field. I remember being at a funeral and happened to be looking at the corpse. And
Mm,
for whatever reason, I saw through my third eye this black-red demonic beam just jump out and
I remember
try
him.
to latch on to me. And I immediately just felt my devouring rightful beings just slapped the shit out of it. And within the moment, I had to remain very calm and observe what is happening and continue on with the walking and the shaking of hands. And of course, the rest is history. But it's in those
Yeah.
moments where you get, in essence, a violent vision, so you have to remain calm
Yeah.
and rely
For
on your
instance,
spiritual
like
guides.
I'll give you guys an example of like the whole phobia thing. Like my family has a height phobia history. And remember when we were in Sedona, we were climbing these tall heights right over there in the
Well, Costa
mountainside.
Rica as well, right? Because remember the bungalow, we
Right.
also had like a,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that like as actually an unconscious fear of falling or losing control of yourself, right? So basically once I overcame that kind of height phobia thing, I've started to notice that okay, it's just a symbol pointing to the real lesson. Right
right,
now I know like I can let go of control and be completely fine. But earlier I'd be like, fuck, what if I lose control and everything falls apart, you know? So it's once you can see it differently after a initiation gnosis kind of moment or epiphany moment, you can yeah, get more leverage and you can create your own trajectory a lot better. Uh, but you can't literally relive or erase realities, but you can oftentimes change. You can't. Well, I'm not allowed to mention that, so I won't mention that. Okay.
am I allowed to mention what I want to mention?
No.
Fuck, okay. Sorry guys, this is
Sometimes we
for
get yeah, we get censored by our guides too, as you can see. So yeah, if you guys want like a Primal Sutra guide team protocol, just reach out to myself or Ryan G. It will teach you how to recognize signals, prevent synchronicity addiction, and we'll set up a conduit conditions for you so that your channel stays clean. And yeah,
mm,
don't remember not to romanticize guides as well, because 99% of the time it's not two angels, beefing in the astral. It's two currents inside your own system fighting for the steering wheel. So remember, you are the director of this. They are the cast. Stop letting the cast be the director. That's the thing.
right.
Message coming through. Stop letting the cast be the director. Yeah.
True. You decide who your team is. Your life is your business. You own this business. You decide who you're going to run it with. And that's all from my end.
Yeah. I think this is a good place to end it, Ryan G. Thank you
I agree.
for being a
I
part of
agree.
this. And yeah, may you never be the same again. May the flow be with you. Primal Sutra Mystery School.com if you want more further guidance.
Yep.
Anything else, Ryan G?
If you've been following us for the longest and you can afford $99 a month and you still haven't, well, this is the year of the horse. Take bold action, invest in your spiritual health,
Totally.
because at some point we might decide to take Primal Sutra in a completely different direction. So get on this in-depth program while you have this opportunity. That's all.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tapping in.